Hey everybody, it's Christine McAllister, the founder of Life with Passion, coming to you on this Wednesday with great information for you about taxes. This is something that I get so many questions about. In fact, today's challenge topic is actually called Taking the Terror Out of Taxes, because this is something that I have so many people who are getting started ask me about, just in terms of how do I be compliant, how the heck do I do them, what do I need to know? And so that's why we're talking about taxes today. So I'm excited to give you a little bit of an overview of this topic. If you haven't signed up for the challenges yet, for the whole challenge, you can do so. You can join my private Facebook group, Life with Passion Society. You can find me online at lifewithpassion.com. You can also find me on Facebook at Life with Passion. And in my private Facebook group, Life with Passion Society, that is where all the details of this challenge are happening. And you can also sign up to get full replays to the Periscopes and to the content forever by going there. So, my name is Christine McAllister. I have been an entrepreneur for over a decade, and I've started several small businesses, and now I help other people to start their own small businesses and quit their 9-to-5s for good. So I am the founder of Life with Passion, and this is truly what I love to do, is to help other people discover and embrace the freedom that I've found by running my own business. So what I want to talk to you today about in day 3 is taxes, taking the terror out of taxes, and how the heck do we do that? All right. I do want to say as a disclaimer, I'm not a certified tax professional. I am sharing what has worked for me, and you should talk with your tax professional in your area to find out what's right for you. I will say that working with a great accountant, CPA, somebody who I really trust, has made a big difference for me, and it's really not that expensive. So I highly, highly, highly recommend and encourage that. I'm happy to make recommendations too if you would like, if you are US based. Otherwise, I'm going to share with you generally the way that taxes work based on what I know from operating several small businesses here in the US, and you are welcome to ask any questions that you have. You can get in touch with me on lifewithpassion.com, info@lifewithpassion.com. There's a link to the contact in my profile. Okay, so let's dive in. All right, so many times I hear taxes being a reason that people hold back in starting their own businesses. It's stressful. It feels terrifying. Am I going to mess up? You know, I don't know how to do this. But the bottom line is that taxes are just the government's way of getting their share of your income. No matter how you feel about that, it's that simple. So when you work for yourself instead of your employer doing it, it's up to you to keep track of how much money you make, and therefore how many taxes that you owe. I've always said, hey, I'd be happy to pay a lot of taxes because that means I'm making a ton of money, right? So what you need to know is that the government also recognizes that in going into business for yourself, you have expenses that you don't have at a regular job. And so therefore, you are going to be able to deduct or write off, you may have heard that one of those terms, some of those expenses, and not have to pay taxes on that amount of money. So let's say that you make $10,000, but you needed to spend $2,000 to make it. Hey LA, thanks for joining. Then you only have to pay taxes on $8,000. So maybe that $2,000 was advertising, it was setting up your office, it was office supplies, maybe working with a contractor, those kinds of things. The government says, okay, you don't have to pay taxes on that amount of money. You only have to pay taxes on the amount of money that was pure profit for you. So that's great, great, great news. And you have a wide array of what the government considers eligible write-offs in your business. It varies from business to business. So, but the government defines that, the IRS defines that in the US as those that are ordinary and necessary in your trade or business. That's a direct quote from the IRS. Ordinary and necessary in your trade or business. Ordinary and necessary they define as common, accepted, helpful, and appropriate. So if you see a lot of other people are using those as write-offs, chances are you're able to do that the same way. So some really common write-offs that go across any business just about would be like if you're driving somewhere for a business meeting, if you're driving somewhere to network, if you're driving somewhere to meet prospective clients, if you're driving somewhere to get a training, you can write off the miles at a standard rate in that you drive in your car, or if you take a taxi somewhere, or if you pay for tolls, you pay for parking. You can write those things off, okay? If you have a home office that is exclusively used for home office use, not a spare bedroom that has a desk shoved in the corner, I've done that, not your living room where you do other things besides business, then you can also use that. You can use that percentage of your rent or your mortgage to, that's considered a write-off. All right, so that's great. That's great news. You can take, let's say it's an office that makes up 10% of your living space. You can deduct that amount, that 10% of your mortgage. If your mortgage or your rent is $1,000 a month, you can deduct 100 of it and say, I just use that for business. Office supplies, training, education, books that you buy, experts that you hire to work with. So I'm a coach, so when people hire me, they're able to, in most situations, write off my fee, because they're learning for their business. It's not just for fun. They're learning for their business. If you are eating meals that are centered around business, if you're taking trips that are centered around business, if you have a cell phone bill or an internet bill that is used, the percentage that's used for business, you can write that off too. So there are a lot of different things that are really, really helpful that can save you money on your taxes. Now, the government also wants to make sure that you're not just running this business as a hobby. And what that means is that you're not going to show a big loss of all your expenses year after year after year and never show a profit that they can tax. So their standard rule, if you're not in agriculture, is that you need to show a profit. It doesn't have to be a huge profit, but you need to show that you're making more money than you're spending in 3 out of any 5 years. Okay? Just that they can tax something in 3 out of any 5 years. The government knows it takes time to start a business. It takes time to make money for some people. And so they don't expect you to be profitable from day one. So really, this is about being reasonable. This is about doing your earnest best to make money and to be honest about the money that you're making so that you pay the cut that is owed to the government. Okay? The most important thing to do is to keep really good records. Even if a lot of people throw all their receipts in a shoebox and look at them at the end of the year, that's one way to do it. Or you could organize everything that's business related into a folder in your email. So like I use Gmail for all of my accounts, and I have a folder that's called Taxes 2016. And so every time I spend money on something that's a business expense, I throw it in there. And I also use a great cloud accounting software called FreshBooks that you just pay by the month. It does have a free system as well, a free trial that you can use indefinitely, a certain number of clients. And when you do that, you can link it to your bank account for free. If you use a bank account that's exclusively for business, then it's going to import all of your expenses, and they're going to be right there for you. And you can run a report and give it to whoever's doing your taxes at the end of the year, whenever your taxes are due. Now, the government also really likes for you to have a separate business account. It does not have to be an official business checking account that you go to a bank and say, I'm a business, I want to open it. It can be a personal account that you just use for business. So you can transfer as much money in as you want from your personal account. You can transfer as much money out as you want to your personal account. But the only expenses that are coming out of there are business expenses. And the only deposits that are going in, other than transfers, as you need money, are deposits that you're getting paid. So it's easy in that account to keep track of what money you're making, what money you're spending, And if you're hooked up to something like FreshBooks, it's really just going to capture your expenses as well. So at the bottom line, you need to just be able to justify your actions. You need to be able to explain your decisions about why you spent money on what you spent it on. This is something my husband calls a gut check. So a lot of people really are living in the gray. They're skirting the law, or maybe they're just outright illegally like cheating and not reporting a lot of the money that they make, or over counting the money that they spend. Now, the government's going to take your word for it to a point, but there's always the chance that you're going to get audited, right? Which is what like most people fear about taxes, is that you're going to get audited. An audit only needs to be scary if you've lied or cheated or skirted. So when I work with my clients on this, what I teach is that you just need to be reasonable. Of course, there are going to be expenses that come along with a business, and you need to be wise, and you need to be a great record keeper, or have someone who is help you get everything set up. But basically, the write-offs are a great way for you to be able to invest in your business and have the government help you do that, because you're basically saving a third on them. And as long as you can justify, I needed this was an ordinary, a reasonable, a necessary expense, then you're great. Hey, thanks for joining. So I really, really invite you to ask questions. Ask questions, do your research. I'm here for you. If you have any and specific questions about you starting your business, do not let this hold you back. Today's assignment in this challenge is to make a list of things that you've spent money on so far that could count as business write-offs if you start your business this year, or if you started your business last year. What could you possibly capture that you haven't already, to help you save money on your taxes as a legitimate business write-off? All right, I'll be back here at the same time tomorrow to talk about your more about building your business systems and structures. I hope this has been helpful for you. I invite you to follow me here, and I'll see you tomorrow.